Panther Nation podcast. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, cut it. Cut right. And I would like to introduce one of the hottest podcasts in Carolina history. Let's go. Yo, talk less chat. We got time to chop it up. Talking analytics and fantasy draft. You know what's up. Panther Nation representing, cause this is where we talk that. Talk that's so incredible. Make them rewind that talk back. Pause. Talking Panthers football, we discussing it all. On and off the field, you know exactly who to call. You know we the #1 podcast. Competition is non-existent, you need to stop that. Pause. It's an honor to be a Panther fan, pause. At Bank of America, that is where we ball. Coming to the jungle, then you gonna feel the pause. Winning the trophy for the city, it is the call. Black, white, and blue, we going Carolina strong. And this is the conversation where everyone belongs. Discussing all the numbers and topics, you know we got it. We the hottest podcast, and we poppin', let's go.
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
What's going on, guys? This is Dave, one half of PNP. Unfortunately, Rashad will not be able to make it tonight. You know, that man's got things to do. You know, we're both in a phenomenal fraternity. I know he's got some things going on with that. But I'm here. We'll talk about some things. I'll tell you how things went this weekend because I was out of town this weekend. We'll go over the NFL games that occurred. We're supposed to go over the offense needs this week. We will do that the following week. So that's going to be the plan of action with regard to that. But, you know, shout out to everybody that's here. For those who haven't done it yet, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. You know, those are free. We'll talk about a bunch of things that occurred. A lot of things have changed. A lot of things have happened over the past week. The Jaylen Coker interview got dropped. Things of that sort. But we'll get into all that. But we'll start off of how my weekend went. So this weekend, you know, I went out to the Chicago, Illinois area to Frosty Faustin's. I went to go compete. Did better than I thought I was gonna do. I didn't get out of pools in any of my brackets. And I did okay in Street Fighter 6. I did okay in I did surprisingly well in Tekken, but way better than I thought I was gonna do in Tekken. And you know, it was a good event. Really highly recommend if you're into fighting games and things of that sort. They have everything pretty organized, pretty set up properly. Got me some flavored popcorn while I was there. Brought some back. My daughter was elated when I brought back the popcorn. Like I got some root beer popcorn, some it's from the spot out there called the Popcorn Baron. They're based out of Indiana. And I got me some Baron's Reserve, which is like a caramel butter. It's like a phenomenal flavor. That thing hits. I got butter chicken flavored popcorn, sangria flavored popcorn. So I brought some popcorn back, some pretty damn good popcorn back from there. Strawberry cheesecake popcorn. Yeah, I heard the cookies were the hit for Rashad's fundraiser. So shout out to everybody that gave to that. But yeah, man, it was a pretty good weekend. To say the least. So yesterday, typically in my area, for those who don't know, I live in the New England area. There's a fighting game weekly. Virtual Fire 5 came out on Monday, yesterday, and what's in my beard? It's gray. It's gray hair, brother. It's gray hair. I have a lot of it, unfortunately. But I guess it's better to have that than no hair at all. But they had a Virtual Fighter 5 tournament, and I ended up winning the tournament last night. It was very, it was fun. I was kind of taken aback, so I ended up winning that gig, which was pretty cool. Let me see here if I can pull it up real fast. I don't think I can. Hold on. My whole thing's all a mess right now. There we go. Yeah, so I ended up winning the tournament. That's me. I don't know if you guys can probably see that. Let me see if I can make it better. Yeah, there goes me. Yeah, I ended up winning the tournament last weekend, which was pretty cool. I can't complain anymore. I can't complain with regards to that. But, fun. It was a fun time. The guy, shout out to the brother on the left. He's the one that organized the tournament, and they had a pot bonus, so I was happy to get the pot. So that was fun. I had a blast at the tournament. I typically try to go every Monday if I'm around. That's my arcade stick right there, man. It's a leverless. I bought it while I was at Frosty Fawcett over the weekend. So yeah, and they do free engravements and stuff, which is pretty cool. So I put PNP on it, and let me see. I'll go ahead and get rid of that. So I threw PNP on it, and I put my Aggie Esports on there as well. So cool stuff. Can't complain one bit. Yeah, but good stuff though. It was good games from everybody. I got the miles to Street Fighter 6 though. At that tournament, man. I ran the first round. I'm thinking, all right, typically in the first round, I got an opponent that might give me trouble. But I'll still end up pulling it out. Now I ended up fighting the guy that ended up going to grand finals first round in that. So, but nah, man, it was a pretty good overall, pretty good weekend. Can't complain a little bit from that regard. I just, I do the gaming because it's something else to do outside of, dealing with work and everything else in this world. But overall, that went well. I wanted to talk about the Jaylen Coker interview a little bit, man. I watched it. I thought Rashad did a phenomenal job with that interview, man. He asked the right questions, and he didn't, and I think overall he kept the focus where it needed to be. Because a lot of times people interview players and they just want the scoop on, they want the gossip and all this other stuff. But I think Rashad did a pretty good job focusing on his season, because it was a pretty good season for Coker, considering the things that he had to go through, from him making the 53 to not getting cut to getting released right after he made the 53 to coming back on the practice squad to getting this opportunity due to the Thielen injury, and things of that sort. So shout out to Jaylen Coker with regards to that. And I need to fix my screen so you don't fully see me. Let me see. I can change right here. Oh, it's not working right. Hold on. Oh, there we go. So, shout out to him, for doing it. And shout out to him for, he's a cool cat, man. There's no question about it. So it was, like I said, a phenomenal interview. They went over the season. It was pretty good chronological order. He answered the questions pretty well. I have no complaints about the interview. I thought it was an outstanding, and the shout out to Jaylen Coker, man. That being said, did you guys watch the championship games this weekend? I was flying back on Sunday, so I watched the majority of the Washington-Philadelphia game, and what a rout that was. I knew Philly was going to win. I didn't think they were going to be that dominant. I'll be honest with you. Saquon Barkley pretty much did whatever the heck they wanted, from that standpoint. Overall, I think the Eagles got the most talented roster right now. From that standpoint, I think they got the most talented roster. Washington will be interesting. Washington will be interesting long term, and whether or not they can keep this up. Detroit learned the hard way that it's hard to get back to that championship game, right? Bills Chiefs, I didn't watch that whole game. I caught some of it because my flight left, and typically when I fly, I take naps. So, but I did catch the end, and oh my goodness. Josh Allen 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes, man. That's tough sledding. I will say that. But this is a Super Bowl that a lot of folks expected. I think it was going to be Detroit or Philly. I picked Detroit to get to it against the Chiefs. So, but I knew it was going to be Detroit or Philly. So it was going to be Philly and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I got some news about that aspect as well, but we'll talk about that later. But it's Eagles Chiefs rematch. We've seen this game a few years ago. Ironically enough, started a three-peat for the Chiefs. So now will there be a bookend with them closing the three-peat on Super Bowl 59? So it'll be fascinating to see how that's going to go. I right now, if you ask me, I'm probably still picking the Chiefs to win it all because Mahomes is Mahomes. But we shall see, man. It should be interesting. Like I said, I think it ultimately boils down to Jalen. Jalen Hurts is not as good as folks say he is. I think when you look into everything with regards to the quarterback position, he's still a game manager in my eyes. And I think to beat the Chiefs, that's what he's going to have to be to win. I think if you have to put the ball in his hands, it's going to be tough for them. Like the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl off their defense. Truth be told. So it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, I know somebody mentioned it in the chat. Yeah, you got to talk about the fact that the Panthers hung with both of these guys. I mean, that's telling. That's telling. That shows that we can compete against the best of the best in the NFL. Like we pretty much had both the Eagles and the Chiefs on the brink. We had a chance to win both of those games. And ironically enough, if we had a defense, we probably would have won. Maybe at least one of them. So it'll be fascinating to see how that game goes. And we got plenty of time to go over that game. And Saquon Barkley is like beating all the running back allegations right now, too, guys. Because from the standpoint of when you start discussing, I'm looking at a question I just got in the chat. When you start questioning, I lost completely my train of thought after looking at that question from the chat. Free agents, I mean, I would love to get Chris Godwin. I mean, and then maybe we need to draft a wide receiver in the first round discussions will stop. I would love to get Chris Godwin. Yeah, so. But it'll be interesting to see if Bryce Young and the rest of the Panthers keep that momentum going into the following season. I mean, they shouldn't have nothing to be ashamed of from that standpoint, considering the season that they had. So I don't think they, as long as we see growth from Bryce Young, as long as we get him some weapons on offense and defense, because yes, you can get him weapons on defense too. I know that's hard to believe, but I believe you can get weapons on defense for him. I mean, because it's about complementary football, and to get a good defense, to have a good defense, that helps. A lot of folks got to realize, and it's funny because there was a debate about has Mahomes passed Brady yet? And I will say I understand the debate, but I'm not ready to go there. But it's a legitimate debate from that standpoint. Where Shaud, I don't know who that person is. Shaud. I don't know who that is. But Rashad is busy. He's got things to do tonight. He shot me a text this morning, let me know, and I said, all right, PNP got to start late then because I got family responsibilities to do. But yeah, man. So everybody, you should definitely be, when you talk about optimism, everybody should be optimistic about next season. There's no question about it. Shout out to Caleb Daniels for the super chat. Tegan Jr., bro. I miss him in Carolina and San Francisco. I miss him in Carolina, but it is what it is from that standpoint. Like Tegan was really good for us. I will say that. He was really good for us when he was here. I don't think he gets enough credit how good he was for us, considering how he stepped up during that 2015 season. And he was good for us. And he continued a career when he went to the Saints as well. So shout out to him. Speaking of which, does anybody want to be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints? I heard they're still looking for one. Saquon not going to win MVP. And he's not going to win NFL MVP. If the Eagles win a Super Bowl, he could win Super Bowl MVP, but he ain't winning NFL MVP. That's going to Lamar. Lamar Jackson's going to win MVP. The NFL MVP is a quarterback's award now. There ain't gonna be no non-quarterback getting that award ever again, which is unfortunate. Because when you run for 2,000 yards, I think you should deserve to be the MVP. Like, because that's so rare. It doesn't happen that often. Quarterbacks ball out of control every year. And yes, I absolutely agree. When you get turned down by Cliff Kingsbury, you got a problem. But that probably boils down to the GM at this point. And that the Saints ain't got a coach, man. There was a time where people were trying to tell me and Rashad that the cap is a myth. And if it's such a myth, then why can't they find a coach? Mickey Loomis being the head coach would be hilarious because then you get the press conferences, and then Big Q ain't got to do the impersonation, which is hilarious in itself. They can wait on the Eagles offensive coordinator, but I got a question. Is the Eagles offensive coordinator waiting for them? That's what you need to ask yourself. Is he waiting for them? I don't think they are. I mean, the cat wasn't Memphis until it wasn't. Yo, you know what? I love Big Q, man, and I do feel for him, bro. This got to be a tough spot. But the way I see it, Big Q, and I know you watch. The way I see it, my brother, you should be happy that you're not Dallas out here trying to hide a Brian Schottenheimer hire on a Friday afternoon. I see what you did there, Jerry. I see what you're trying to do there. No splash, so you rolling that route. But Bears. I know. Shot. We talked about the Bears hiring Bill Van Johnson, which it'll be interesting to see how that goes. He's not going to bring none of those guys to him to New Orleans. But the thing is, Dennis Allen didn't mind being there. Now they can't find anybody to take that job. Dennis Allen probably relieved right now because now he ain't got to deal with that cap situation. That cap situation is a mess in New Orleans, guys. Why wouldn't Thomas Brown get jobs? Why can't he get a job? What's wrong with him getting a job? How are you gonna Friday news dump an NFL head coach when it's somebody that you don't want everybody to freaking talk about for a long period of time? Friday's the day you do it. Like Jerry Jones didn't hire nobody that it wasn't a splash hire, so it wasn't something that you wanted to talk about, wanted to overshadow those championship games. You sneak that joint in on Friday. That's when you want a news story to come out that they don't want folks to talk about. You sneak it in on Friday. But I think that's getting harder and harder nowadays because of the 24-hour cycle of sports and the news cycle as a whole. So I think, even though Friday's the day that you want to put that type of news out when you don't want everybody talking about it like that, still ain't, you still people can still wait till Monday to have those discussion points. And let me tell you something, man. I saw the presser, a portion of that presser when Jerry Jones was like, you can't tell me I don't take no risk. I just hired somebody that's never been a head coach before. No, dog, that ain't always the best route. There's a reason why that man ain't had no opportunities. I guess like NFL media was talking to Rich Eisen and they gave a list of all the coaches that was going to get hired and who could possibly get fired. They were pretty spot on, but there was one guy that was not a prospective head coach on their list, and that was Brian Schottenheimer. Dave, what do you think about trading for Michi in Houston? I'm not interested in trading for nobody unless they're a one. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. The fascinating thing about Dallas right now, and the thing is, I don't think it's that fascinating, but the thing right now is that I think the fan base is starting to realize that the jig is up. Like there was some in the fan base that thought that Jerry didn't really care about winning, but I think you make a move like this, it's confirmed that Jerry does not care about winning. He cares about keeping the bottom line intact. He doesn't care about winning anymore. He's already gotten his Super Bowls. He's just trying to keep the business intact. And I think some portions of the fan base is starting to figure that out. He's definitely a yes man. But then when you think about it from the other perspective, wouldn't you want to be the coach of Dallas? Because you ain't got to worry about the pressure of dealing with the media because Jerry does it for you. That's a perk. Unless your ego really wants to deal with the media. And a lot of coaches tend to not want to deal with the media. So I don't know why you would be mad at that. That's a perk. You know what I'm saying? But from the Cowboys standpoint, y'all as a fan base, y'all need to accept the fact that y'all got an owner right now that does not want to win. He doesn't want to win. There's no way you can convince me otherwise. I agree, but if you cared about winning, you would have kept the coach you had because you had a better chance to win with the coach you had, not with Brian Schottenheimer. So, you're right, man. He hasn't cared about winning for a while now. He cared about being the guy. He bought that team so he could run the team his way. Jerry walked away. The reason why Jimmy Johnson left was because Jimmy Johnson was overshadowing him. And you can't do that when you got a guy that wants to be the guy. I mean, we almost had a poor man's Jerry Jones. Like, that's what we were starting to think our current owner was. And then, we started seeing changes and we started seeing him like backing off, which is good. 90 million if they cut him, or 90. If his cap is 90 million, they're gonna have to cut him and get some cap. That's a lot, man. Jerry moved on from Prime because Prime would overshadow him. It's not even just about being a yes man to him. It's about having somebody that's going to overshadow him. Like, Jerry wants to be the talk of the town. He wants to be the life of the party. Take a look at me now. You know what I'm saying? Jerry wants to be the guy. He doesn't want nobody to be ahead of him. He wants to be the GM. I think Jerry should just go out and coach. I say he coaches. You got to interview two, though. Which makes me remember but I think if you hire, I believe if you promote from within, you don't have to. I think, if I recall, I have to double check the rule. But I think if you promote from within, I don't think you have to. Or there's some rules, because I don't think he had to. You got to have two minority candidates. And by the way, I learned later that when the Bears was doing the whole rigmarole and interviewing all these folks, when they went on that gauntlet, and all of a sudden Eddie George got the interview, Eddie George was the second one to cover the Rooney Rule. I didn't think it was, but then I learned that you got to have two candidates. So it was for the Bears. It was and Thomas Brown doesn't count because it's got to be external. So Thomas Brown didn't count. So they interviewed Ron Rivera and they interviewed Eddie George. And then they went and got Ben Johnson. And yeah, that didn't count. Jerry said he didn't interview Dion. So I'm wondering, because he promoted from within, did he really have to do the Rooney Rule at that point? Which is fine. I mean, I got my thoughts on the Rooney Rule, so. Yeah, they did. The Pats interviewed because they promoted from within. Like the year when we were looking for another coach, the reason why that Gerard Mayo declined our interview and declined everybody's interview is because he was told that he was going to be the next guy when they move on from Belichick. Like, he was pretty much told. Like I said, man, Jerry wants to be the guy. But anywho, but yeah, man, the coaching hires are fascinating. I think Dallas ain't gonna do much. But nah, I don't think so. Dallas is so far from winning a championship. They are they're far. They're far. I think they're far. They are just far. And the thing is, like, they got to figure out what they're gonna do with Dak. Yeah, they're far. They're just too far. Too far gone. With regards to that. But to continue on, because this is not going to be a long show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm tired. I got things to do too. But I wanted to do a couple shout outs. Shout out to all the Patreon subscribers. Make sure you guys go to www.patreon.com/Panther Nation PC and become a Patreon. We're starting to do more draft breakdowns. I know Rashad is working. He's cooking in the lab with regards to that. I'm going to probably try to get on my fantasy groove again. I know I was out here hustling backwards. I've been busy with everything else that's been going on. We give out prizes to the MVPs every month. We're gonna jumpstart PNP Confidential, and things of that sort. We're gonna definitely bring that back very soon. So shout out to everybody that's been a Patreon. We really, really appreciate the support with regards to that. And shout out to Underdog. So for me, two of my teams made it to the best ball big game for the playoffs. And that could have been you as well if you would have went to underdogfantasy.com and used the code PNP when you sign up. You get a deposit match, and they'll do deposit matches once you get the account as well. Sometimes you get opportunity to do deposit matches later, and things of that sort. So make sure, and now they're doing the best ball drafts for the 2025 NFL season. Pre-draft best ball. So you can get in where you fit in there. So make sure you go to underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code PNP when you do. And for the Super Bowl, they're going to have pick'ems. So you can do some pick'ems on if you think Mahomes is going to ball out of his mind like he did against Buffalo last weekend when he plays the Eagles, you can do higher or lowers for that. And I'm pretty sure they're going to have some phenomenal specials when it comes to that as well. So make sure you get your opportunity. Use some scorchers. You win up to 1,000 times your money. Go to underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code PNP. It really helps out the channel, ladies and gentlemen. And you can win some money like me. Because I got a chance to win $20,000 Super Bowl weekend. Actually, $30,000 because I got one of my teams made it in the $20,000 one with first place, and another one of my teams made it for $10K. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it goes. So go to underdogfantasy.com, use the promo code PNP when you do. Am I coming to Greek Night? No. I don't live in North Carolina, so I will not be coming to Greek. I'll be watching Greek Night. Shout out to the Lady Aggies, 7-1 in the conference, Aggie Pride. Shout out to the track team too. They're out here playing. They out here running and balling too. So shout out to them, men and women. Shout out to the bowling team, top 10 in the country. But yeah, man. So let me see. I had a bunch of topics today. I covered all the topics already. Dang, I did it in 30 minutes. So I'll take some questions from the chat. Anything related to the Panthers, life, whatever. I'll take questions in the chat from that regard. I've zoomed through all of them topics, but I have a habit of doing things like that. Hey man, offensive tackle Carson Vincent from Alabama A&M. He's been balling out of his mind in the Senior Bowl so far, to the point where folks continuously be surprised about HBCU prospects being able to play. And he was dominating the defensive linemen from Power 4 institutions. Dominating. I tell you, dominating. I retweeted a couple of the tweets. The kid's good. Now I know we don't need it. Well, Brady Christian might walk this year, so we probably could use another offensive lineman. Not Roll Tide, Alabama A&M, agricultural and mechanical. Not Roll Tide. They're the Bulldogs. Yeah, now let me tell you something, man. I watched that tape during the practices, and that man was putting in work. And here's the thing that folks got to realize. A lot of kids who go to HBCUs and FCS programs, a lot of them decide to stay because they like the environment that they're in. But there's a lot of dogs down there, man. There's a lot of dogs down there in the HBCU front, and there's a lot of dogs down there in the FCS as a whole. So when we come up with the Jaylen Cokers of the world, there's things that we see that that can translate to the league. So you guys just gotta no Aggies this year, man. Nah. No Aggies this year. No. And the funny thing is, we had somebody, Karan Prunty, but he transferred. He went to Wake Forest because there was thoughts that he was going to declare, but he decided to take his grad year to Wake Forest, which right now A&T has an A&T to Wake Forest pipeline. 2 of our players went to Wake, and then we had Jacob Roberts that also went to Wake Forest after he transferred out of A&T. From that standpoint, but I like if we need and that's the thing, right? Because of the school that Vincent went to, he's getting the hype now, but he's gonna be forgotten on draft boards. And I think you might get a gem out of him because he was dominant against Power 5 guys. Dominant. Let me see if I can pull up the video. Hold on. Now you gonna have me working. Now hold on. I gotta see if I can find it. He was putting in work. Boo. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Bear with me for a second. I'm about to have to pull it up on Safari real fast. Let me see here. Because I really want to show you guys this. Let's see. I can find a video real fast. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here's a tweet. Here's a tweet. Not sure if you can hear it. Let me see. Can I get the note? Is there any sound? I don't think there's any sound anyway. All right, there's no sound anyway, so it don't matter. So give me 1 second. Let me share this real fast. Let's see. Do a window. Here we go. All right, let me bear with me for a second, guys, while I get this so it looks correct on here for y'all. Okay, y'all see that? All right, here we go. That's against LSU, Savion Jones. Easy work. I'm gonna try to, man. I got a lot of things going on this weekend, man. I'll be honest with you. Like I just got a text message that I might have to go to Connecticut this weekend, so I might have to disappear. There was another one too from him. There's another one. That's against Texas A&M Shamar Stewart. You know, so he's putting in the work, man. So shout out to him. But it's just a friendly reminder. Let me see if I got the line walk. I don't know, man. Let me see. Nah, he had himself a day today, man. There's him again. That might have been from earlier. That might have been the same one. Shamar Stewart. Yeah, it's the same ones. All right. So let me go ahead and close this up. Close this up real fast. There we go. Yeah, it might have been another guy, man. I haven't been. Well, today's been a crazy day at work too, so I really haven't looked too much. But I saw that because he was the. And by the way, he was the only HBCU prospect that was invited to the Senior Bowl. So, and that doesn't mean there wasn't good players out there. Like my boy, and shout out to Gerald Huggins, who pretty much scouts all the HBCU players. There's a few folks that should get that has the potential to get drafted, but most likely will end up being undrafted free agents because of the perception. But the reality is that there's some pretty good players in that league down there in those conferences. I mean, but your scouts got to be willing to put in the work. So, but Carson Vincent had a day. That's all that we'll discuss. So we'll see if it was day one, so we'll see if it continues. I expect it to. But we shall see from that regard. So shout out to him, shout out to Alabama A&M. With regards to that. That guy wasn't projected to be drafted at all. Because right now, from like I said, I know a few scouts. From what I understand, right now there's no HBCU prospects that's scheduled to get drafted, and there's probably going to be like 5 or 6 FCS prospects that's going to get drafted, and most of them are probably going to come from like the Big Sky, the Missouri Valley, CAA. Those are the spots where you'll probably get your drafted FCS players, but a lot of the FCS players are going to end up as undrafted free agents, just like what happened with Jaylen Coker. Like because Jaylen Coker paid in the Patriot League. He didn't get drafted. Even with Steve Smith giving the stamp of approval, he still did not get drafted, and we ended up getting a gem. Is Shador going to be there for him to draft? Shador might not be there when he gets there to draft. So, yeah, I agree, man. Like we need a tackle because I it's not an if Christian leaves. I think he's gone, guys. I think he wants the opportunity to start a left tackle, and I don't blame him. Of course, there's good running backs. Of course, there's good running backs. There's always good running backs in the draft. Why wouldn't there be good running backs in the draft? There's always good running backs in the draft. I mean, I'm biased with A&T, so I would love us to draft Tootin. who is that? Who should be at the Senior Bowl? I think he got invited, if I recall correctly, or it was a Shrine Bowl. He's at one of them bowls. I mean, you got Cam. But I like Tootin, man. Yeah, Genty. I mean, like Jonathan Brooks, time will tell with him, man. But we got to start we. The only reason, but the thing is, the reason why I want to get in a running back is because I want Miles out of here. I mean, that's the reality of it. Like I've got patience. Like we knew drafting Jonathan Brooks that he was not going to be ready. But the last injury was disappointing. Last injury was just a bad break from that standpoint. So you can't really like. I'll give you an example, right? Like folks are saying, well, we shouldn't have drafted a guy that was hurt. Well, I mean, when we drafted J.C. Horn wasn't missing games. He wasn't missing games. I don't know. I mean, it all depends on the cap situation, right? I mean, if they need the money to go get other players, I mean, I think Miles would probably be an easy casualty from that standpoint. But the thing about the running back position, man, that's a position you can go get either in the later rounds or you can go get in undrafted free agency. It's too early to say that it wasn't a good pick. Jonathan Brooks was arguably the best player in the draft, best running back in the draft. There's an argument for it. The only reason why he fell is because of his injury. But if he's healthy, he's probably the best running back in the draft. So I'm not mad. I wasn't mad at the pick. So we'll see, man. I mean, it's too soon to say it's a done deal. Just gotta be patient. But I wouldn't be mad if we went after and go grab a running back. I mean, you got a first round grade you got in the second round. You can't be mad at that. I mean, I think Dan Morgan did a pretty good job with the draft considering. But that's any player. Anybody can get hurt. Anybody can get hurt. McCaffrey got hurt constantly after he got paid. Constantly. Anybody can get hurt. That's just what it is. It's just a part of the game. Like you can play the odds, sure, but you can't tell who's going to be hurt and who's not. Folks didn't like Bryce Young because they were saying that he's too brittle. He wasn't going to be able to stay healthy, and he's done pretty damn well. So same thing. Doesn't matter. Technology is technology. Terrence Davis. Terrence Davis. Shout out to my buddy. Thomas Davis tore his ACL 3 times in the same knee. Like you can't predict that. That's what the medicine's too good nowadays. So you can't really predict that. The medicine's too good. McGahee, he played pretty well for a bit in the league. Like, and he had injuries. Woof. That was a vicious one too. And he had a pretty decent career. So you know. Nah, he is. He's from Earth. Earth. EARF. Earth. He's from Earth. Nothing wrong with that. So you can't predict that. Like, you can't predict that. You just can't. You want to, but you can't. You don't know. You just don't know. You could have somebody that's never been hurt his entire career in college, his entire career in high school, never had a major injury, show up to the league the first year, tear his ACL before the season starts. Can't do nothing about that. Bruh, when I saw the measurables with Tez Johnson, I had a lot of questions. That man only weighs 156 pounds. He's 5'9". Don't know if he can survive the league. He's just straight special teamer. I don't know if he can play receiver. Not full time. Not full time. No, sir. But now we'll see, man. It'll be interesting to see. We got a whole off season to have these debates and have these discussion points about what we're going to do. Now, typically when I do what I do for the Super Bowl, I used to do a Super Bowl party every year. Like I would just invite some friends over and we'll do something at my crib, like make wings, do that, order food, whatever. And I invite a few folks and watch the game at the crib. I don't know what I'm gonna do this year. I'll probably just watch it solo. Last year, I watched it with a friend, one of my friends, and we chilled. And but I'll be honest, it's gonna be just like this year. Because last year, I made the best ball championship game again. I had a couple teams that made the best ball championship last year, and so I was watching the game completely different than everybody else. Like I was watching the game rooting for Jawan Jennings. You know what I'm saying? So when I got the potential to win some money, I was watching the game from a completely different lens than everybody else. If Jawan Jennings would have caught if he would have caught if I would have got like 40 more yards or something like that, I would have won $25,000. Or was it $50,000? It was a lot of money. I would have won a lot of money. Jawan Jennings almost single-handedly got me catapulted to first place. I ended up winning I think $3,000 if I remember correctly. But it's still pretty good haul. Don't get me wrong. It was close to $3,000 if I remember correctly. But I was watching, because here's the thing about, and I could probably pull it up. I'll probably pull it up. I'll get a bonus check and bonus look. The key to winning a best ball tournament that goes round by round, the key is survival, right? Because the best ball league that I was in, I love talking about this type of stuff. The best ball league that I was in started in the wild card round. So you drafted your team before the wild card round. So you drafted players, and the key is you play the people that you drafted with. You got to beat them in the wild card round. And if I think for the first round it was top 2, or it might have just been top 1. It all depends. Some of them were top 2, some of them were top 1 for the first round. So if you survive, you get to advance to the divisional round. So at this point, you only can go with the players that are left. So let's say you had Justin Herbert in the wild card round, even though he played like crap. So let's say you had Justin Herbert, and he was one of your quarterbacks. Well, he got eliminated. Or here's a better one. Let's say you had Lad McConkey. Shout out to Lad, because he helped me advance in a couple of those leagues that I was in. So shout out to Lad. But because the Chargers lost, Lad ain't gonna be available for me in the divisional round. And you have to start a quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, / tight ends, and a flex. So you got to have a starting lineup each week. But now your players are diminishing because they're no longer in the playoffs anymore. So then you go to the divisional round. And now it's now you got to win this one. You got to be first place to advance to the next round. So I had a couple teams that was first place that advanced me to the championship games. So then you do it again. So now you're down to 4 teams. So let's say one team has Patrick Mahomes, Jaylen Daniels. I had one squad that actually had both of them, crazy enough. Patrick Mahomes, Jaylen Daniels, and your running backs were James Cook, Saquon Barkley. You know what I'm saying? You got a pretty good chance to advance to the championship game, to the Super Bowl. The problem is now you don't have James Cook anymore because James Cook is gone. He got eliminated. The Bills lost to the Chiefs. So now when you get to the big game, your best chance is to have enough players to start a quarterback, a running back, 2 wide receivers / tight ends, and a flex. And fortunately, for both teams that made it to the big game for me, I got 5 players that are playing. Now, one of them is very Chiefs heavy, which is not what I prefer. Like last year, I had a shot to win because I had Chiefs and Niners. Like I had the shebang. So I was getting points each possession. You know what I'm saying? So it was great. But if you got one side that's heavy, it makes it more difficult to win it all. You might make enough points to not place at the bottom of the big game, so you might get some extra money. Because if you can start climbing up the charts, then it becomes interesting. So one of my squads is very Chiefs heavy. Another one of my squads, I had Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. So I'm going to get the best points out of the quarterback there. But my running back situation, I only have Barkley. Right? So I have Barkley because Cook's gone. And then wide receivers, I got a mix between Eagles and Chiefs. So it got me there. So it depends. Yeah, I mean, you can't really control things like that. But nah, you can't. Brees Hall towards ACL, came back and ball. What is the best Super Bowl wings, man? There's no and the thing is, chicken's probably gonna be super expensive this year too. But wings is the correct answer. It's chicken wings. Chicken wings. Now, if you got to be nutritious, then I'm a carrot guy. Like I can roll. Like if I got to go with the carrots or celery, I'm taking carrots. What is my view of Mahomes? He's in the discussion for the GOAT. Like, I think people got to realize something, man. Mahomes, since he's been the starter for the Chiefs full time, he's made it at least to the championship game every season, all 7 years. He's made it to at least the AFC championship game, like league minimum. Tom Brady didn't do that. He didn't do that. Shoot, Tom Brady, his second year as a full-time starter, he ain't made the playoffs. He didn't make the playoffs, guys. Like, I think folks got to understand that perspective. And Mahomes is doing it. He's doing everything, bro. Like, he's doing it in which way. He's doing it in every form factor imaginable. Like, if he wins this one, he'll have 3 out of 7 years as a starter after going to 7 AFC championship games and 4 Super Bowls. Yeah, because he lost. Yeah, 4 Super Bowls. He's been to 4 Super Bowls. So yeah, you kind of gotta put him there. Like, you gotta put him there. No, folks won't be happy about it, but some people might. But I mean, he's in the discussion. Like, you can't. He's already a Hall of Famer. Was Brady a Hall of Famer after 7 seasons? Like, to put it in perspective, right? After Brady got his first 3, it took him almost a decade to get back there. To get back to win another one. So, like, I just think you gotta think about it. What's going on, Kobe? I hope all is well, my brother. Hope all is well. So it all depends, man. Like, I don't think when you start, like, he gotta be in the discussion if he gets a 3rd one. I understand he ain't got 7, and that's okay. He also didn't have 20 years to get 7. That man's about to get 3 in 7 years. And he's never made an exit to the NFC. He's never lost in the divisional round. He's never lost in the wild card. Yeah, like you kind of gotta. Oh, it would be 4. My bad. Said it wrong. This was his 5th time being there. So in 7 seasons, he's been to 5 Super Bowls, and if he wins this one, he would have 4, including the first 3-peat in NFL history. Nobody's ever done this. Like, this is how Brady's never won 3 straight. He had a chance, but he missed the playoffs. He had a chance to win 4 straight because, like, the 2002 season, the season after he beat the Rams, they didn't make the playoffs, which is still wild to think about when you sit down and think about that for a bit. Like, they missed the playoffs right after they won that championship. It's kind of wild to think. Who do Northeast lose to? As long as they lose Spring Valley, I'm cool. Man, how much space do you think we're going to be able to clear up to try to get these players? Tom Brady Super Bowl wins, how are they much better? What sense does that make? What sense does that make? Tom Brady's wins are better. Why? Tom Brady had a top 10 defense in every Super Bowl that he's won. And most of them were top 5. I mean, that's only one. I mean, and Mahomes came back. Was it how much down were they against the 49ers? Mahomes did that. No, that didn't make him the GOAT. That just makes the Falcons demoralizingly bad. That just makes the Falcons look bad. That don't make him the GOAT. Nah, you got to start thinking about it, man. If that man gets 4 in 7 years, I don't know. I'm not ready to start having discussion points about the Senior Bowl yet. I typically watch the game and then make my assessments. Do I agree with the calls in the AFC Championship? Look, man, I can't do nothing about the referees, guys. I did think it was wild that referees can give touchdowns. I thought that was wild in that first game, bro. Yeah, but goats change, man. Things happen. It's just like the Jordan LeBron debate. There's some folks who got LeBron ahead of Jordan. Now, I don't agree, but things happen. Somebody can pop up and say, yeah, no. I mean, but Brady got 7. And I mean, yeah, you can say, well, he got 7. But I can say up to this point, my guy, Mahomes, he's been to the AFC Championship game every year of his career. He's been a full-time starter. And he's gone to he's gone to 5 Super Bowls, and he's got a chance to win this 4th one, including 3 in a row. No, the Bucks beat the Chiefs. The Bucks beat the Chiefs. Never forget that Mike Rimmer started on the offensive line for the Chiefs. The Bucks beat the Chiefs. I mean, shoot, the Bucks beat the Chiefs, and I will remain that way. Very Jordan light. I do agree. Mahomes is out here stopping folks from getting championships, guys. Like Josh Allen might not ever win a ring right now. Lamar Jackson might not win a ring because of that, man. Lamar Jackson might not ever win a ring because of the Chiefs. Funniest thing I saw at the airport that day. And I don't blame Luvu one bit, by the way. Don't blame him one bit, because I would have done the same thing. Don't blame him one bit, one iota. Do not blame him one bit for him to do that. Don't blame him at all. Don't blame him one bit, because I would have done the same thing. Would have done the absolute same thing. I don't blame him. Not mad at him for it one iota. Our window, man, we gotta figure this window thing out. I mean, we're running out of time. Yeah, nah, I wasn't mad at Louisville, bro, because they gotta do something about a tush push. Like, let's keep it a buck. They gotta do something about the tush push. Would I be mad if we take a tackle at 8? At 8, I would be a little bit disappointed. Look, man, some would say Mahomes don't really have that much talent offensively right now. Like Travis Kelce is like, it's funny because I got Travis Kelce in some of my daily leagues right now, and I'm very concerned. I'm like in my best ball leagues in the finals, and I wish I had a different receiver than him. But that was at the time when I did the draft. He was the best value. So for those who know how I do fantasy, man, I draft off value. Drafting off value tends to work out more than people realize. But it'll be interesting, man. If the Chiefs, if Mahomes pulls this off, man, you're gonna have to have the debate. It'll be the first three-peat in NFL history, and during the Super Bowl era. Like this is something that, and I think folks got to understand the perspective of it all. This is something that the league is not. Well, best way to say it. The league is not built to have dynasties like that. They're not. Like they're just like the way that the NFL is structured. It's not built to have a team win 3 years in a row. It's just not. It's not built. Like you get teams like Washington that comes out of nowhere to get to a championship game. Like that's the way the league flourishes. They flourish with new teams getting there, like the emergence of Detroit. Like that's how they flourish. The league is built to see different teams get there. So for what Mahomes is doing and having a chance to get 3 Super Bowls is impressive. And I think that's 4 out of 5 too, by the way. If I recall. So 3-peat, 4 out of 5. I gotta double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 4 out of 5. So for him to do that is impressive. Just is. I think it's 4 out of 5. I got to double check, man, because I don't want to be out here giving you guys some falsehoods. Let me double check. Let's see. Yep, it would be 4 out of 5. Yep, 4 out of 5. Is that right? No, it wouldn't be. That's Super Bowl 54, and he won Super Bowl 57. No, it wouldn't be 4 out of 5. I stand corrected. So it'd be three in a row. 4 out of 6, though. It'd be 4 out of 6. And if he wins Super Bowl MVP, that'd be 4 Super Bowl MVPs for him, which is kind of wild when you sit down and think about it. You know, to put it in perspective, Brady has 5 Super Bowl MVPs. So if Mahomes wins and he gets Super Bowl MVP, he'll only be one behind Brady. Truth be dog, the Chiefs had a chance to do it. But if the Chiefs would have done it, it would have been the most improbable undefeated season ever. I mean, they only lost one game, really. I don't count the Broncos game. I think they would have played their guys if they were still undefeated too. And we almost did it too. Panthers came close. We had 2 losses as well. One I don't want to remember. So, you know. But yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, we had a chance to beat both of those teams. It's kind of hurts. It's hard to go undefeated, but it's harder to go winless. Unless you're the Browns or the Lions. It's a hard thing to do. Yeah, like folks forget the before Brady, Montana was the GOAT. Remember that? Before Brady, Montana was the GOAT. And before Brady, because before Brady, nobody had more than 4. So if Mahomes wins the Super Bowl Sunday, he will join Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw and Tom Brady as the only quarterbacks with 4 Super Bowl rings. So, he's already in. Mahomes is already in the Hall of Fame. Like he's already in. Like there's no question about that. He's already in. But it's kind of wild to think when you think about the teams who have the quarterbacks who have have at least 4 championships. It's Tom Brady, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana. And one of those quarterbacks was never considered to be like the GOAT or even in consideration of being the GOAT. Terry Bradshaw was never considered to be the GOAT. So how did Terry Bradshaw get 4 Super Bowl trophies? He had some of the best defenses that we've ever seen at the time. This is the kicker. The dude doesn't turn 30 during the season this year. The man's 29 years old. He's been to 7 AFC Championship games and 5 Super Bowls. It's insane. That's right. He was a quarterback for a team that had one of the greatest defenses, some of the greatest defensive players of all time. They were winning despite him. That's how good the defenses were back then in the 70s. I mean, he has good receivers though. He had Lynn Swan, and so he had some pretty good receivers. But you got this down, man, because I believe you. But nah, man, Bradshaw wasn't that good of a quarterback. Like, no, he's not. Nah, then we're really gonna have to call on Jordan. If he gets bored and decides to go play baseball for a couple years and come back and win the championship, then he done hit the Jordan track. You mean Trent Dilfer, who should get fired from UAB? You mean Trent Dilfer? Fun fact: a lot of people weren't happy when they let Trent Dilfer go because they felt like they could have repeated if they would have kept Trent Dilfer, but they decided to go another direction. If we draft Tet or scoop one in free agency, I mean, XL's going to get every opportunity to be the starter. but it'll be tough it'll be tough. I've already been on record saying that Coker is the best receiver we got, so I gotta stand on business. Terry, the originator of F it, my teammate down there somewhere. Yeah, he was Brett Favre before Brett Favre was a thing. I was a lad guy, man. So yeah, no, I was a lad guy. I was team lad. I said if we're gonna take a receiver, the only way I'd be happy if we take lad. That's what I said. That was my comment. I was cool with lad. I felt like lad was something that Bryce needed because lad was like a perfect fit for what Bryce needed at the time. I have not watched the podcast yet. All right. This has been fun, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Look, you must be talking about Southern California. I agree. We should be drafting Southern California wide receivers. Don't be out here slandering my city, man. Don't be slandering Columbia. But all right, man. This has been fun, guys. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get in the comments and all that good stuff. Shad will be back next week unless he tells me otherwise. And we're gonna try to do this thing together next week. The plan is to focus on the offense next week. And shout out to Underdog one more time. Use the code PNP when you do sign up for Underdog Fantasy. And on that note, we are out, and we'll see you next week. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, keep pounding. Peace.